movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 181. This week, we took one of your suggestions out there. One of our loyal listeners let me know, hey, have you guys done... And yes, we had done the specific idea that they first pitched me. I was like, oh, come on, you're not that loyal of a listener if you didn't know that we did both Best Movie and TV duos. That was an old one. We could always revisit that, I think, down the road. But Absolutely. There's like, have you done Best and Worst Superpowers? I'm going, no, we haven't. So thanks for that, Aiden. I think this was enlightening because I knew some dumb ones. There's some really dumb ones out there. And also, it's always just fun to talk about just the stupid stuff in comics and movies. But before we get into all that, Josh, you were away for a little bit. How you been?
I am I'm good, man. I'm nice and crispy. Like I got a lot of sun. You can't really tell in the video, but like I am a shade or two darker. Went to Cedar Point for a full day, which was a lot of fun, and then like went to like 2 national parks and did some camping and hiking and whitewater rafting for the first time. So I definitely made the best of having no time off, and then I was like, all right, cool, so I'm going to be paying for this later, but we're going to make the best of it.
Man,
so it was a lot of fun.
You just sound like a total dad right there. Oh man, we went to 2 national parks there. We went on a nice hike. I got me some nice New Balances. They're perfect for
New Balances, honestly. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, Cedar Point, I think we walked... just because of how big it is, at least like 10 miles that day, at least. And then the following day we did hike. We didn't mean to do this much hiking, but I think it ended up also being like about 8 miles of hiking that day. And then the following day was whitewater rafting, which was 10 miles of river, but like, you know, you're in a boat, so but like you're also paddling for most of that. So that was fun. I am tired and sore in places that I did not realize could be tired or sore. But yeah, I'm back, and we're having a good time.
Did you watch anything at all while you were?
Before I left, I did watch Fury Road again.
Wow. Okay. Your monthly viewing of Fury Road?
It's like once every few months I watch Mad Max Fury Road, just because it's like, why not, you know?
Just because I've been falling behind on my list, so I've been watching a lot of stuff lately to try and make up for lost time. So let's see. I finally saw Top Gun Maverick. When we recorded last episode, I was going to see it later that day, so it's been a while. Oh gosh. This and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think, are the 2 best movies of this year. I just knew I was going to like Top Gun just right off the bat, like within the first 5 minutes of going, oh, this is something special here. For those that haven't seen it yet, which odds are there's not a lot of you left because this thing is crushing at the box office. It made $44 million on its 4th weekend. That's nuts to me. But for those that haven't seen it yet, the Mach 10 scene, oh my gosh. Like that combined with the last half an hour, I'm completely white knuckling the entire time going, so this is what practical filmmaking looks like. Oh my gosh. But also, again, without jumping too much into spoilers, it was refreshing seeing a Tom Cruise movie where he's not the indestructible perfect character. There's one scene in particular that destroyed my feelings, and I loved every second of it because, 1, it's a really emotional scene, but 2, it's the character of Maverick, but it's also the person that is Tom Cruise realizing that what they've been doing, they can't do forever. And it's like it's a very meta moment of like, this actor's clearly going through something because Maverick has always been a very indicative reflection of Tom Cruise, I think, of like, you could have been a 2-star admiral by now. You could have been a multi-time Academy Award winner by now, but you keep choosing to do the things that you do. And I think he's just like, you can't live in the past anymore. You have to let it go. To which I'm just going, is this meta for Tom Cruise realizing he needs to move on to a different stage of filmmaking? The whole movie is a lot of deeper meaning of like modern technology versus the human element. So analogy for film. But I could rave about that all day. I watched The Gentleman. I love The Gentleman.
Really?
It was so good. I was sucked in within the first 5 minutes. Guy Ritchie, for the most part, I love, except for King Arthur, but we won't beat that dead horse again of how much I despise that movie. This is peak Guy Ritchie script writing here of everyone's dialogue is so sharp and so witty, and you never fully trust anyone. I love that it starts with it starts in the middle of the action with what looks like a hit, and you're just like, well, this is a really obvious thing of who it is, and it's not, which I was pleasantly surprised by. I'd be like, well, this guy secretly assassinated him. Oh, it wasn't. So I really enjoyed The Gentleman. I think it's honestly my favorite Hugh Grant performance. Hugh Grant is so cool. He's suave. Charlie Hunnam's great. Do not F with Matthew McConaughey. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely. Maverick is fantastic. Gentleman's fantastic. Like, I need to revisit it because I think I stopped about 45 minutes in or something like that because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. So maybe I'm just
keep watching it. Yeah. Everything, I was worried towards the tail end of it that there's too many loose pieces, but everything really does come together in it.
Okay, that's reassuring.
I saw the Netflix documentary Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, which is the one about Jim Carrey playing what's it, Andy Kaufman from Man on the Moon.
Wild.
Jim Carrey's just a dick. Like, you can say all you want that he's just method acting, or the spirit of Andy Kaufman embodied me. Really? Then how is it that people that actually knew Andy Kaufman and interacted with Andy Kaufman, Jerry the King Lawler, were like, yeah, Andy Kaufman didn't act like that with us. Like, Kaufman let his guard down at times. He wasn't always on. So, just like, I've never been the biggest fan of Jim Carrey, but this documentary made me even less of a Jim Carrey fan. He comes across super weird in this documentary. Lastly, I watched another documentary. I don't know if it's an ESPN one or not. It's Untold, Malice at the Palace. For those basketball fans, you know exactly what event that was. Of Ron Artest decides, hey, I'm going to fight the world. That's another one that no one looks good coming out of this documentary.
Nope.
But also, like, in the intro to the documentary, there's always just like, there's always like this preface that people are like, well, if you knew the whole story, your opinion would change. Like, the players especially are saying that. I'm going, yeah, I've seen the whole story now. No one looks good out of this. Like, you can defend yourself all you want, and it was way out of line that people were throwing stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, don't jump into the stands to start a riot. And they're just like, a whole bunch of NBA players are like, we were labeled as thugs and gangsters from that moment on. I was like, no, it wasn't from that moment on. A lot of that, like, early 2000s NBA did have that moniker because you guys were flaunting that proudly. Like, what was his face? Gilbert Arenas bringing a gun to the actual stadium.
Dude.
I'm like, you guys don't come across well here. It was very eye-opening and very well-done documentary. I'm just like, man, this really destroyed Jermaine O'Neal's career because he was a good player. But honestly, the players involved with it, some of them moved on to different teams. He stayed, and I think that kind of ultimately hurt him being associated with it. And he didn't even do anything in that fight.
Yeah. It's weird. I watched it as well, and like he said, like, nobody comes out of that as looking good, but it's just, it is what it is. It's Meta World Peace, man. What you gonna do?
He like tries to play it off. I'm just like, hey man, I didn't really do anything. I just got a fighter reflex. The one, was it Steven Richardson that I was just like, just cause he's doing something. I know where you're from. You defend your brothers, but at the same time, like, within reason, I would think. Like,
you would hope.
Your first thing should be kind of trying to make sure he's safe, not continuing to inflame it a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in Maverick that like, gosh, I like that movie way more than I thought I was going to. I was kind of mad at myself, especially that last that last third of it is so stinking good. So like, I'm glad you finally have seen it. So good stuff. Good stuff.
I'll probably say it many times more. Let's get into some news, shall we?
Yeah.
So, Warner Brothers. It's not often we say poor Warner Brothers, but in this situation, poor Warner Brothers and Andy Muschietti with the whole Ezra Miller situation. Well, it seems like they've at least put their foot down, going forward at least, as it seems like the higher-ups at Warner Brothers have moved forward and made the decision that going forward, after the release of The Flash, they will no longer be working with Ezra Miller, going, yeah, no duh, we all kind of figured that, but that's not the question at hand, is it? It's, no. What are you currently doing about The Flash? Yeah. We figured, after all the shenanigans, which mark my words, it's not the last we've heard from Ezra Miller, because this is a trend with this individual. They continue to do dangerous things without repercussions. So I want this to be the end of it. There's no reason to me to think that we're near the end of this. But Warner Bros. Is like, well, we're not working with them again, and we will recast The Flash after this movie. I'm just like, that doesn't help the current situation here.
Yes.
I also would not be surprised at all if in the next few weeks or even the next month or so, if we get definitive confirmation either way of whether this is still coming to theaters, whether they're reshooting it with a different actor or moving it to HBO Max, they have to say something. This is getting out of hand. But hey, nice to know they at least have the common sense to not bring this incredibly dangerous human being back for The Flash. Like, I've been very vocal about I've not loved Ezra Miller's portrayal of The Flash. That aside, this is not someone you can continue to employ. This is a dangerous individual that is not just harming themselves, but the people around them. This is a liability. This is Armie Hammer ramped up to 11, which is probably how he likes it. But, Josh, Ezra Miller's not coming back as The Flash. No duh.
Yeah, that's what I think even like after the first two incidences, we were like, yeah, he's probably not going to be coming back. They're probably going to do the Flash movie and write him out somehow, and then that's going to be that. Now, I think we're just like, I wonder if the movie's even going to happen because, like, gosh, I can hear the people now, like, but release the Flash, release it. Guys, no. As much as I want to see this movie, as like, I don't want to. It's like I refuse to pay to watch Jeepers Creepers 1 or 2 anymore because of the activities of the director.
Actual convictions, not just allegations. Yes, convictions.
Correct. So it's interesting to me that Ezra is still kind of allowed to exist in the radar of as far as DC goes. I just don't know. I read like what he's doing is terrible. It's not necessarily our Armie Hammer kind of level stuff, but it's like I don't know, man. I'm just surprised that the movie is still on. We've still got a green light at this point, honestly. I think it'd be too expensive to just recast and reshoot. But it kind of feels like a waste to just drop the movie off the planet in general. But so I don't know, man. We will see what happens. I'm not surprised at all, though, that they're not working with him going forward, especially after the hearing all the stuff from the Johnny Hurd trial and how much they allegedly reduced her role in the new Aquaman movie and how little Mara there's supposed to be. To me, it seems that Warner Brothers is taking steps to make sure that people who are problematic do not end up on their screens.
You would think.
I would think that anyway.
So, The Flash is such an iconic character that they have to eventually use this character again and reuse them. I have been advocating for a while, ever since the beginning of this Ezra Miller debacle. Until you get all this sorted out, use a different Flash. This is Barry Allen. Use a Wally West or a Jay Garrick. I refuse to let that go. Or even a Bart Allen. Just get away from Barry for a while. It's not like the comics and the TV shows haven't done that. After, what was it? Crisis on Infinite Earths, I believe, is when Barry uses the cosmic treadmill, and he basically disappeared for a very long time, to the point of when I was reading comics and watching the animated stuff as a kid, I knew Flash to be Wally West because he'd been away for so long. It wasn't until I think it was Jeff Johns that reintroduced Barry Allen with, I think, Flash Rebirth.
Yeah.
So I've said just use a different Flash. If they're so insistent on using Barry, though, do you have castings in the back of your mind of who you would like? I know you've been a big fan of wanting Grant Gustin to come in as Flash.
No, Grant Gustin can just stop. That's mean. Okay, I'm sorry. Grant, I'm sure did the best he could with.
He's got CW scripts to work with.
Yeah, so like I can't entirely like trash him like that. That's not fair. However, I don't think even given like a good script, I don't know if he would still be my Flash. There's certain things about his personality and the way that he looks that it doesn't scream Flash to me. With that being said, I don't have anybody off the top of my head if we were going back to Barry. I think maybe I'm trying to think off the top of my head as far as someone who's quippy, who's fun.
It's taken you this long? It's taken you this long?
Absolutely.
We've talked about this before. My top pick has been, and will continue to be until I'm proven otherwise, Andrew Garfield.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Garfield's physique already fits incredibly well for Flash, that tall, slender figure. I know the popular fan cast is Lucas Till, which... Josh, do you know that name?
It sounds really familiar.
I'll do some talking. Do a quick Google on Lucas Till, because I just looked him up and going, okay, if we're going off the pure aesthetics, Lucas Till does look like Barry. If this is a few years ago, maybe Chris Pine, I think, could be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, he's great. Lucas Till is good. I don't mind him at all.
He's the prevailing. He's the popular one.
I still think I'd prefer, especially just because it's Barry. I would definitely prefer. It's Andrew Garfield, man. Like, how can I not want my boy? But I don't know, man. Lucas has got the look, but I just like I've seen him in some things, and I don't know if he has the right energy, I guess is what I'm looking for, as far as to go from either the absolute almost spazziness of Ezra Miller's Flash, and then
it could be a different universe as Barry, though.
It's fair, I guess. I don't know.
Also, I'm trying to think of who else. I saw some people spitting it out, and I think he'd be better used for something else, of the guy that played Hangman in Top Gun Maverick, but I could see him as Hal Jordan instead, to the point of like, I kind of really want him to be Hal Jordan. Also, Glenn Powell, who plays Hangman in Top Gun Maverick, is poised to do some big things. I really, really liked him. Maybe Bob from Top Gun Maverick instead. just throwing random names out there. Can the actor be blonde this time? Just a weird, like, specific thing. No other names coming to mind though, Josh?
I'm looking around.
Also, while you're thinking of that, like, what should they do with this movie right now?
I say scrap it. Honestly, I honestly dead.
Even with the price tag.
Even with the price tag, because I think at this point you're going to be backtracking too much to so let's say like you take Ezra off the project, right? Let's say that's the reality. So then what? You recast. Okay, cool. Does that mean you completely reshoot the movie, which is more money, or do you use CGI and just replace people, even more money and more of a chance that it's not going to look great, or do you just try to hide it behind a paywall on HBO Max, and it's still out there, but the canon problems are still there, or do you just take the loss and scrap it? I don't think there's any good options here. I'm going to be straight with you. I don't think that. I think Ezra has definitely put Warner Brothers in a bit of a spot, because I mean, in any way they're out a couple $2 billion at this point, potential losses and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know, man. To me, I think the best decision is to scrap it and restart. But like again, that's just a huge amount of money lost.
Moving from DC to Marvel, a lot of people, myself included, have claimed that Marvel Phase 4, anything post Endgame and Far From Home, has felt a bit aimless, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Kevin Feige's going, well, you fools, that was by design. You shall get more information soon. Well, all right, we'll take your word for it there, Kevin. As Kevin Feige recently in an interview stated that as Phase 4 is coming to an end, all will be revealed momentarily within the coming months, to which that means D23 in September to me. Yes. In which case, we will get a bigger picture as to what the future of the MCU will be, what the next saga will be, and as well as some of the stuff coming up for Phase 5. What he said we'll be starting to get a more clear picture of the future of the MCU. And he's like, well, we've already laid down some subtle hints that I've picked up on, and some sure diehard fans have picked up on, but the general audience probably hasn't yet. That plays into the larger scale of what we're doing next, like we did with the Infinity Saga. I'm going, subtle? You think it's subtle? We all know it's Secret Wars. So, Secret Wars officially announced at D23 in September. Yeah?
Yeah, we're calling it now. Yeah.
But also, like, I think I trust Kevin Feige's storytelling, but at the same time, you're going to have to do a lot of mental gymnastics to explain to me how everything in Phase 4 has been connected, because, let's be honest, of the 4 phases in the MCU so far, Phase 4 is the weakest.
Yeah.
By a wide margin. Sure, there's some stuff that I enjoy with the TV. Like, I enjoyed Captain America and Falcon Winter Soldier. I enjoyed most of Loki. I really liked Hawkeye. But I didn't dig WandaVision. I haven't seen Miss Marvel yet. I don't think it's for me. But that's totally cool. Black Widow, not particularly great. Yeah, we've got some great things like No Way Home and Shang-Chi. But this has been a very spotty phase when we're not used to spotty. We're used to good to great. This has been meh to wow, you've got some really great things. There's such wide divide here. I get what the next phase is, at least I think I do, with Secret Wars, which is multiverses coming together and squaring off or uniting against a specific threat. There's still a lot of elements, though, that I'm going, well, how does this fit in? Like, we talked last week about a Thunderbolts movie coming in. Like, where does that fit in? Where do the Eternals fit in? How do mutants come into any of this? Like, we've not heard any mention of that. Why was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness so disappointing? Like, you really, really holding back for a later date? I just want some clarity, because before, like, we could kind of see, okay, it's all leading up to Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, and I'm sure we'll get that in time, but they are kind of losing me a little bit, and I feel like Kevin Feige stretched a little too thin, and that's starting to show here. But we just need some announcements, I think, to calm us down a little bit, because we are getting to the tail end of everything that's been announced. We're getting close to the end of that. Like, next year is, I think, more or less the end of Phase 4. And I know some people are like, well, we didn't even get an Avengers movie. It's different. We're introducing the next wave, so we don't have an Avengers movie for a little bit. Josh, what do you think is the future plans for the MCU? What do you think Kevin Feige is withholding from us, and what do you think Phase 5 and beyond looks like?
I'm kind of with you on it's been very, very spotty up until this point, right? Some of even the TV shows, the one that I really, really enjoy, are not perfect, and I don't need necessarily perfect. There's a lot of issues. Like, while a majority of WandaVision I enjoyed, it still kind of ends in a way that's kind of like, that's still problematic. Like, we know that, like, the way that Scarlet Witch is problematic, right? Like, that's not, I don't know. I just, there's
and
a
then
lot
it
of stuff.
didn't tie to Doctor Strange particularly well from a character development standpoint.
Correct. Absolutely. Because the way they end the show on there is that she's come to terms with it. She's fine. And then the Wanda that we get in the movie is not okay at all. And I think part of my, at least for me personally, my apprehension of hearing Kevin Feige be like, yeah, Phase 5, this is going to be, where we kind of show where we're going, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. But the big old booty. Why then did you market Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as the start of Phase 5? And
they never did.
I can hear you.
They never did.
Or the start of something bigger.
Okay.
They definitely did that.
To be fair, that was not Kevin Feige's fault. Remember, he had no control over the marketing on Doctor Strange. That was freaking Mr. Clean. Bob Chapek took that he took that out of Feige's hands. Feige does not have the control that we used to because Chapek is an idiot and is trying to torpedo the company. Hence why he's absolutely not getting renewed come February, because despite what the board is saying, they have no confidence in him. So I will defend Feige in that of like the marketing was not his call.
I hear that. And I can forgive Kevin for that. Obviously I can kind of trust him on that, but I think it shows that advertising is not always the product, right? And I think for me personally, because of how disappointing Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was, it does give me a lot of apprehension going into this Phase 5 and this supposed quote-unquote plan. Now, that being said, there's no way it's not Secret Wars. There's no way, unless they're going to sit there and be like, all right, cool, so we introduced, not in one, but in 2 movies, we introduced this really radical thing of the multiverse that's never been seen on screen before, which technically hasn't, I guess, technically. But we're going to introduce these new concepts to the Marvel Universe, and then what? Phase 5 does nothing with it. We don't see it for another 6 phases or something. Because if you don't do Secret Wars, where do you go? Galactus? You have an event where all the mutants are created and you deal with that instead? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what other direction could you go that doesn't mean you ignore the multiverse stuff from No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2? You know what I mean? So I don't know where else you can go with that.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of, I don't know. They're stretched too thin. Like, I don't know. If we had a more consistent track record lately, I think I would have more confidence. But also, are we getting to a point that too big could be dangerous? Because I think we're already getting to that point of like, okay, I feel like I need to watch every show or every movie so I'm able to keep up narratively with what's happening. Like, while I'm not currently watching Miss Marvel, I do kind of worry. I'm like, well, are they going to reveal something important in that? Or like She-Hulk that most people might just skip, not realizing how important it is? And then something huge like Eternals did not do particularly well at the box office. I'm worried that Eternals is going to be like the massive fringe movie of like, you needed to see this for the important crux of information. Do you think we're in danger of that, of becoming too dense with homework?
Oh, but like I told you going into Doctor Strange, that was something I was incredibly worried about. Was like, okay, like when Marvel release a quote unquote homework list of movies to watch going into this. Like, I know it's kind of half tongue in cheek, half kind of joke, but like at the same time, it's like, I shouldn't have to do homework for your movie.
Unless the homework is Luis from Ant-Man giving a recap of everything you need to know before the movie. Like, that's your prequel. But other than that, I'm excited for the future of Marvel. I'm excited to see like how mutants come in, even though we thought we knew how mutants would come in already. I'm excited for Fantastic Four. I'm excited for a good Doctor Doom. But I'm a little worried of just like, are we getting too big here? That like the casual movie fan that's been following since 2008, that's been able to follow this, will they still be able to follow this? Like, you're getting into dangerous territory here of, I don't know, could this just be too big? Well, chalk this next one up to yet another Disney remake coming. I don't know if this is theatrical or Disney Plus, probably theatrical, but we are getting a live-action Hercules movie. That much we've known for a while, but now we know who's directing it, and I'll be honest, I don't hate it. The director of the live-action Hercules is going to be 2019's Aladdin, Guy Ritchie, which we just talked about at the beginning of the show, directing The Gentleman. I'm on board with this, which is funny, because I don't like the original Hercules. I just think it's not as good as I remember. I watched it not too long ago. I'm like, I watched this a little bit as a kid, but it's not as good as I remember. There's some good lines about, like, look at Narcissa. She loves herself or himself or whatever. Like, it's the character looking himself in the mirror. I'm going, all right, didn't get that as a kid. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the original Hercules. I remember every single McDonald's toy, though, and, like, the little water bottle that's shaped like the pillar. That being said, this is one of the few Disney live-action reboots that I'm actually looking forward to, because I think aesthetically there's a lot of really interesting routes you can go with this. And I don't know, so far the Disney reboot / remakes that I enjoy the most are the movies that I had the least emotional connection to, that I was able to distance myself from. I still love The Jungle Book the most of all the Disney live-action remakes. I'm expecting the same thing here, because I'm just kind of about Hercules, whereas like Lion King, I'm super love the original Lion King, and then the new one happened and it was a colossal disappointment. Beauty and the Beast, somewhere in the middle. There's a lot of things that I have issues with, but it's a competently made movie enough. This, I like Guy Ritchie's style. I think this could be a lot of fun. But there's certain elements to this that I'm just more intrigued by seeing in live action form than anything else. Of like, I don't do snakes. I'm gonna need a live action Hydra in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Because you didn't give me a live action giant snake at the end of 2019's Aladdin, which the ending of that still kind of sucks. But all the creatures that he fights in that montage, the giant Hydra, which terrified me even as a kid. What will Hades look like? Or Cerberus at the gates of hell? There's a lot of things that I would actually like to see in this. Maybe an accurate Zeus, but Disney will never do an accurate Zeus, because that's not a PG or PG-13 movie. No. That is another movie entirely.
Absolutely. But there's ways to have that conversation, I think, in a live action, in a non kid focused like I think that there's a lot of storytelling opportunities that will become with it just being live action and being Guy Ritchie that were not there for the original. And like, you know, a lot has changed since the original. I mean, we have a whole Hercules movie starring The Rock, that the whole movie you're not sure if he's actually like the Hercules of myth. So it's interesting to me, I think, that of all the things that have changed. Now, my only caveat is I have one requirement of this film, and I think you already know what requirement.
They're not going to bring back Danny DeVito.
But why not?
I want it to be, if they bring back Danny DeVito, I need to be I need to be kind of like if it was It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They put like the bare minimum amount of costuming on him.
Yes.
He just has slightly hairier legs and antlers. That's it. The rest of it is completely just Danny DeVito. That is just like, all right, kid. Now, like, who would you cast for the rest of the movie? Maybe like Florence Pugh as Meg, or Haley Steinfeld as Meg?
Don't do that to me. Oh my gosh. Let's have Russell Crowe be Zeus in 2 movies. I don't hate it. It could be fun.
Who do you have as Hercules then?
Oh, dude.
Hercules.
Geez, who are we doing these
Chris
days?
Hemsworth.
See, okay, that's going to be the question. Do you have two actors? Do you just de-age, or do you? Because
you do the Chris Evans Captain America.
Is this is this Steve from Stranger Things opportunity to beef up?
I get different vibes from him.
I couldn't see it.
He needs to be a superhero, but probably not. I don't see him as Hercules though.
Oh yeah. What superhero do you see him as?
Human Torch.
Oh, look at that. Oh yeah.
Billy Eichner is Hades, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Hercules himself though, it's such a tough one. It depends on the age range that you want. Mm-hmm. If this was 10 to 15 years ago, Channing Tatum.
Oh. Part of me would still be down. Like he's
starting to show his age a little bit, but
like I'm down. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Taron Egerton.
I don't hate that.
When in doubt, if you want to get Josh on board with something, just cast Taron Egerton in it. Oh, you want a Helen Keller movie? Taron Egerton.
It is Helen Keller. I mean, that'd be like the Scarlett Johansson of the male audience. Oof, that's a joke. Ouch. Yeah, no, there's a lot. I think the muses would be a lot of fun. Seeing all the gods would be a lot of fun. It'd be interesting. I think what's the most interesting thing to me is there's a lot of things that are visually very like that movie, like that version of Hercules. Like that version of Hercules does a lot of things visually with the gods that is very different from pretty much all the other ways that they're done in movies. And I'd be very interested to see if they just try to do those things again, but in live action. And I'd love that.
Well, this next one, it's titled one thing, but the odds are very, very high that this is just something else entirely. So supposedly, HBO has been like, y'all like Jon Snow? We saw your Twitter feed. We know y'all like Jon Snow. So we're going to do a Jon Snow sequel series to Game of Thrones. To which my immediate thought is this actually a Jon Snow series? Or is this a, we're sorry we screwed up, here's more seasons sequel series? Like, sorry our directors bum rushed through the final 2 seasons so they could do a Star Wars movie that they were ultimately fired from for bum rushing through Game of Thrones. We're sorry we sabotaged the highest viewed show of all time to the most controversial finale this side of Lost. But we're doing a quote-unquote Jon Snow sequel series. I'm going, if there's more than 3 characters from the original show, I'm just going to see it as a sequel to the original show. Yeah. Also, like, spoiler alert for the people that haven't seen Game of Thrones that care, he doesn't even end up on the Iron Throne at the end. It's not like he's the one ruling everything to be like, well, here's a sequel series about him ruling all of Westeros.
Yeah.
It's the one character that didn't deserve it more than anything else. So I'm going, what? Why? This is not a Jon Snow show. You can claim it all you want, HBO, but it's just a Game of Thrones sequel series because you want to milk that as much as humanly possible, as we have House of the Dragon coming out later this year. Mm-hmm. Because you have no other show that has had the streaming numbers like that Game of Thrones one did, and you realize, oh crap, we canceled it too soon without a clear direction of where to go next. we're just gonna keep milking this. Y'all like dragons? Y'all like dragons, women, and swords? We're gonna give you that with Jon Snow. Y'all like Jon Snow so much we brought him back from the dead for you. Josh, is this a Jon Snow show, or is this a sequel series?
It's a sequel Jon Snow series. That's what I'm going.
Winter. It's just called Winter Came.
And now it's summer. This is a Jon Snow. Oh my goodness, Jon Snow sequel series.
Apparently, Josh can't say that five times fast.
Yeah, apparently it's too many S words. Starting with SN.
I mean, there is a 4-letter S word that we could think of for Game of Thrones.
Ooh, for anybody that saw the finale, and I mean that literally, you can't see the finale. There's something on your screen, but I don't know what it is. But to me, I know House of the Dragons is coming out here soon, but like, I almost I hate this. There's a small part of me that saw that HBO saw we excited everybody was for the Lord of the Rings show, and they were like, "Hey, we can still do that. Yeah. We understand that we're doing House of Dragons, but let's do more Game of Thrones." Is George R.R. Martin writing it? Well, he's not doing finishing his book series, so let's give him a job there. It's fine, whatever, dude. I don't really particularly care. I feel like one of those like weird trolls that's like, I didn't really like Game of Thrones. I stopped watching. I guess spoilers. I stopped watching when the bratty blonde-headed kid got killed in
the Batman Begins kid.
Yes, I was
Joffrey,
the
coffee guy.
Legitimately, he dies in like the first episode of that season, and I was like, honestly, that's all I needed. All right, cool, bye. I never watched an episode after that. So I really don't care about this show whatsoever.
Speaking of things that Josh does care about,
Ooh.
But also, speaking of putting the cart before the horse, the people over at Paramount and Nick Animation have decided to go ahead and greenlight 3 Avatar: The Last Airbender animated movies. And I'm going, shouldn't you guys wait to see if the first animated movie does well? No? Okay, that's fine. Like, cool. I want more Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's awesome. But we've been down this road before we've got massive plans for the Avatar franchise. We'll give him the Shyamalan. He's this up-and-coming director who has no blemishes on his record whatsoever. Oh, y'all didn't like his movie? Go, bury the sequels. We didn't introduce his sister at all. We didn't hint at the sister at all. This is a self-contained movie. We have no plans for a sequel. Burn it all. Like, we've been down this road before with Avatar, and I know some people be like, well, they got the original show creators back, and they're working on this. I'm going, yeah. So? Like, I get that. And I'm not saying Legend of Korra is bad, but it's the same people that did Legend of Korra. And there's a noticeable quality drop-off between Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. I know there's Legend of Korra fans. That's awesome. If you like Legend of Korra, cool. But it's not on the same level of Last Airbender, so...
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but, like, I think Korra's biggest downfall was the fact that Nick was basically giving them a season-to-season run instead of all right, we're going to give you 4 seasons and blah, blah, blah. They literally never knew if each season was going to be their last. So, like, I can totally understand. Now, I agree that the quality is less, but you can't have 4-season payoffs if you didn't know if you were going to even have a second season. So
Young Justice.
Yeah, that's well, that's a whole nother conversation. I agree, though. Do we know what the first movie's going to be yet? We have no clue.
I think it's supposed to be the Avatar that we know. I think it's supposed to be Ong, just to piss Josh off. Just it's supposed to be Aang, I think, around that era. I would like it if these other Avatar movies were set in different Avatar eras of like who was the first airbender. I think that would be awesome. Or better yet, I don't know if we can do this. Who was the last airbender, like the final one before that died off completely?
Of the cycle?
Yeah, of the cycle period.
That would, I think we do know, actually, because I think he talks to Aang. I think Aang talks to her.
I want that. Right. I want the beginning and the end.
But like, that's to me is like these movies are opportunities to go explore the other, like Avatar Kyoshi. Bruh.
The like, origin of Uncle Iroh.
Bro, like there's so much to do in this world. I think, to me, you only call them the Avatar movies because what else do you call them necessarily? But they don't have to be about the avatars. The origin of the White Lotus. Oh, baby, let's go. Give me a live action White Lotus movie.
It is. Here's what you could do to destroy millions of people's hearts around the world.
Hold on. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
It is the origin of Uncle Iroh's son and the story of Uncle Iroh and his son. Like the whole time you're just like, oh, this is great hero. And at the end you find out it's Iroh's son. You're going, oh.
No. Don't do this to me. Don't you dare do this to me. I will cry the manliest tears that are manly. And God, dude, I couldn't deal with that, honestly, emotionally. But there's, like we said, though, because we've gotten 2 shows that have just dumped tons and tons and tons of lore. There's so much to go into. You can go farther into the future if you want. I mean, I don't really care that much. Like, go for it, my dude. Now that the spirit world and the real world are fused, nothing bad can happen there. Absolutely.
Well, as per usual, this week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, whether it's t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, stickers, whatever you want with the Uncharted Media logo or other awesome designs we've got at the shop. Check out the link in the description, support the show that way. And also, once again, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already subscribed to us on YouTube, help us get to 700 subscribers so that we can talk about that thing with the thing. So let's move on.
Darth Jar Jar.
Superheroes have superpowers. Well, most of them. That's kind of the name. What's your superpower, Batman? I'm rich. We all remember the line, Joss Whedon. Some superheroes have great superpowers. Others have powers. That's what we're going to talk about this week. Thanks to fan recommendation, we're going to talk about the best and the worst superhero powers. And I'll be honest, I struggle with this because there's some names that I saw on this and some powers that I saw on this. There's like, in the right situation, this is not a bad or stupid power. I saw Aquaman on way too many people's lists. How dare you? Or that people like, what? It's a stupid power to be able to talk to fish.
That's awesome.
You could control sharks. That's amazing. Now, we did have a caveat to this. We could not create superpowers. They have to exist on a character in the comics. We could not make them up because Josh and I both have ideal superpowers that we would want someday. My power, I would want the ability to refill anything. Gas tank, fridge, bank account. I think that would all be perfect. Josh's is something about throwing food at your enemies.
Oh, no. Mine was if I could have mine, be like Jumper or whatever, be like able to teleport anywhere on the planet. You just have to like see.
No, what was the one you have in your book?
Oh, that was that was not one I wanted. That was like, hey, like this would be like the worst power ever if like you were able to eject like deli products from your nose and mouth. Like how awful. You like sneeze and like sauerkraut comes out like oh god no. Oh, or like roast beef comes out of your mouth like god, that's just disgusting. Oh,
the mind of Josh, everyone. Always deli meats and weird bodily functions.
Come on, man. What's wrong with that? I mean, this isn't the same story that I wrote that has like a guy that teleports using like a tape recorder, but you know, whatever. We've got okay. Do you want to start with the bad or the good first?
Let's start with the good because that's probably gonna have some overlap, and also I feel like they're the common ones that people will be like, yeah, I want those powers too. Whereas worst, I'm sure there's gonna be some that people go, how was that approved? Why is that a thing? So I have the powers, and also I try to make sure to have some people on the list who'd be like, see, these people have them. We'll go with a recent person.
Yeah.
I would not mind the powers of reality warping, like the Scarlet Witch. I think that would be cool. You basically... The problem is, with the powers of reality warping, it's very hard to come across as the good guy.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a total world domination superpower, and maybe that speaks more about me going, I have control! But tell me, that wouldn't be great. I'm hungry. Here's a spicy chicken sandwich that I created out of nothing that I probably stole from dark energy from another universe. But I'll let those consequences catch up with me after dinner.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty standard. I would love for like Kitty Pryde's intangibility, like being able to phase through things and have things phase through me. Like that's pretty cool to me, anyway.
So
like,
Martian Manhunter too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that guy, I guess. To me, there's like so many offensive and defensive kind of things. The only caveat there is, and I'm pretty sure that this happens to Kitty, is that she like loses control or something at some point and then can't stop phasing through the planet. So it's like that would definitely suck. I that would not be fun. But yeah, you know, being able to phase through things would be cool.
So this does technically count as a superpower because some individuals have it, whereas others, it's just a natural thing that they came with. Super intelligence could get you super far in this world. Like, you're literally just big-brained. And whenever I think super intelligence, this is oddly specific, but I know all of you at home will know what I'm talking about. I think of the Jimmy Neutron episode with Sheen and the ginormous head that looks not like a head after a while. That's what I think of. It looks kind of like the leader from the Hulk. I would kill for super intelligence because maybe then I could afford a house.
Oh,
not in this current climate though.
But nobody can. That's dude. Yeah, no. I mean, it's not on my list, but like, there was a few on there that were like being able to translate any language. Like, oh, that'd be so cool. Like, come on.
But how would that benefit you on a day-to-day basis?
You would just be able to talk to everybody. Are you kidding me?
But like
show up to Norway with no problem of like having.
Of course, Josh goes to Norway first.
Well, I'm just like that's just where my brain goes. All right, you know, or just like show up in like I don't know the Madagascar and being able to speak the native language like with no problem.
Or go to Wisconsin and actually understand what they're saying.
Midwest jokes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they're bad.
Oh yeah, you're just gonna go across town there.
Just out. No, we're not doing that.
Going left at the Walmart.
There's whole YouTube channels dedicated to that. We don't need to reiterate. But like Wolverine's healing factor / regeneration would be just the coolest.
If you had that, you'd still be wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Without a doubt. Like, bro, there's so much I would do.
Dude, if you had Wolverine's healing factor, you would be anybody would be the greatest wrestler of all time. You just have the longest longevity. You're the most consistent guy. They probably still wouldn't push you, but you could go forever and literally just. How is that not a storyline? Wolverine temporarily becomes a wrestler. He's the wrestler that Spider-Man fought. He's Bonesaw.
So anyway,
that went off the rails.
Moving on. I just like I think the obvious caveat though there is like especially in Wolverine's like issues with it, like he can never die, which means he ages slower, which means he has to see his loved ones die in his arms.
Yeah, I was about to say, you sure you want that?
Yeah, it's as close to like immortality as you can get without actually having immortality, like Vandal Savage for some reason. Hi, I'm immortal because I got touched a rock.
Yes, and Dwayne Johnson was very happy about it.
I bet he was.
He's a savage.
Oh my!
I have 3 more good ones before we get into the worst. Same. Okay, this is one that I think gets overlooked a lot, but I do consider this a superpower because she considers it a superpower. Domino from Deadpool 2, with having extremely good luck.
What's so interesting is I saw that on so many people's that's a stupid power list. That's a great
awesome.
List. What are you talking about?
I also love the theory. There's a popular fan theory out there that Domino has the powers of luck and Spider-Man has the powers of bad luck. So Domino literally takes luck from someone else, which I'm going,
interesting.
I kind of like that because, as we know, Spider-Man's like the unluckiest person in comics. The only people that actually stay dead in comics are Spider-Man's loved ones. So does Domino...
And even then it's questionable, unless it's Ben.
Yeah, Ben has to stay dead. Ben is
Sorry,
dead.
guy.
Yeah, he can't get his Jar Jar because Ben is dead.
But
does Domino take other people's luck? Either way, I don't care about other people's feelings when it comes to my own happiness. So, whatever makes me lucky.
The theory I heard was and I think she explains it, like a telepathically moving probability. Which is
it's an energy field that surrounds all living things. It surrounds us and binds us and holds the galaxy together.
I just move the good midichlorians. Oh my gosh. I hate everything about that. I, on the other hand, would love electricity manipulation. So
of course you would. Static shock,
black lightning. God, that's so cool. You can't tell me. I would look great in black and lightning bolts. That's what I'm saying. It's just, if I had that ability, my phone would be charged at all times. Come on. For those that know me, my phone is almost always dead.
Josh wants electricity powers. Shocker.
Ha! Get it, guys? Because Shocker's electricity. Anyway, what?
But better yet,
do with that one?
My brain immediately just goes to, so if Josh has electricity powers, he could never get shocked by touching a door handle ever again. Or does he do it every single time? Every time you touch something metal, That'd be an interesting trade-off. I have electricity powers, but every time you touch a doorknob, and every time you're surprised still. You think, no, this is not going to happen. Nope.
I see, but I think you know me well enough to know that if that wasn't the case, I'd be static charging every doorknob I pass so that it would lightly shock the next person that used it.
You would never pick your feet up again. You'd just be shuffling on the ground, just like an angry gerbil.
Just coming for you, buddy.
Booker T, we coming for you.
No. But yeah, no. Electricity manipulation is just cool. And also it kind of depends on how it manifests because there's also, I guess, Zeus in is it Zeus? There's a guy, this Batman villain, I think, that can throw lightning, if I remember.
I think it's Zeus, yeah. Doesn't he have a nightclub or something?
Yeah, he has a weird nightclub at the top of a tower, and
I mean, to be fair though, who doesn't have a nightclub or a side hustle in Gotham? Y'all might be criminals, but you're at least smart enough to have a side hustle and a side gig. That's smart. Diversify your assets, guys. I know what I'm talking about.
The underlining plot line here is that Gotham is they're not a bunch of villains, they're just really good at entrepreneuring. That's a word, right?
Yes, their Instagram bio just says entrepreneur but doesn't actually say what they do. They're those people.
No. Oh no. Oh,
meaning gainfully unemployed.
Joker starts getting sponsors. He's like, this crime is sponsored by Bang Energy.
Joker's in a pyramid scheme. That's why Joker does crime. Joker got caught up in one pyramid scheme, and he can't get out of it.
I was like, isn't there like some jokes in
and Harley's just like, it's not a pyramid scheme, it's multi-level marketing, of course.
It was like, I'm not a blood-sucking lawyer. I'm not terrible. I'm not a monster.
When Joker runs from the IRS in the animated series, this is why, because he's into some sketchy pyramid scheme. It all makes sense now.
Absolutely.
My superpower, accountability in the tax revenue department. Financial literacy is a superpower, people.
Hey, man, it's like I think one of my favorite parts about making this list was like going through the list of weird X-Men superpowers, and just like I could totally see somebody being like, "Hi, yes, I was born with financial literacy." It's like, you're just white. Shut up.
Yes, no one cares, Devin, what your dad does or what bank he works for. You and your turtleneck. Why don't you call
your brother Skyler?
He's got the vest and nothing else. He's got the vest and a collared shirt. Wow, we're getting oddly specific, and everyone's just going. Devolved like so fast. Yeah, we were all hurt by trust fund kids. They're causing the downfall of modern society. Thanks.
Yes, it's all their fault.
Tyler, Patrick, and/or other white person name.
Yeah, Josh. Wait.
Yeah, or Nathan. So super speed has been on my list forever. Super speed / teleportation, because I would kind of use them for the same thing. Never drive my car ever again. And also, this comes with a caveat. I was discussing this with some of my coworkers today, along with my other pro superpower that I would want, is this is very much I want this superpower if it's its own separate thing, as long as it's not a self-needed thing. Like, what if you have super speed, but you get tired as quickly as you do from regular running? In which case, balls. Like,
you're screwed.
Like, so are you. But like,
oh no, I just meant like in general.
Oh yeah, but just like I can go 400 miles an hour for a solid 2.5 minutes. Then I'm gonna need a protein bar and stop at Wawa. Like,
well, that's a regional joke right there, my dude.
So Wawa is a guest.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, like that. I think all of what's so interesting is like stuff like super speed, like requires you to have like a healing factor or like a super strength. You know what I mean?
Really good shoes.
Or that's unless you're Ezra Miller's Flash and you just run right out of them.
I do very competitive ice dancing.
Ice dancing. But yeah, no, super speed / teleportation. That's just like, that's a go-to. Absolutely. Are you kidding? I think obviously the dangers of teleportation is accidentally teleporting in the middle of a wall. Like, you're kind of dead, bud. Sorry. Like, that sucks.
So what you're saying is one of the dangers of speed is going to the danger zone because you have a need for speed.
Can I just say I appreciate that Maverick opens the same way that Top Gun starts? Like,
yep, and then they immediately ditch it.
Yeah, I was like, I literally sat there with my smile on my face in the middle of it. My dad was like, I don't understand. This looks like old footage. And I'm like, it probably is.
Hey, just like Tom Cruise's old footage.
Oof.
But speaking of Top Gun Maverick, segue. The number one superpower everyone wants. Flight. Let's be honest, we all want to fly, but just like the super speed thing, I think it'd be great so long as it's its own separate thing. Because again, I was talking to my coworkers, it would suck if you could fly as fast as you can run. You're like, I could or slowly get off the ground by maybe a foot or two. It's like a mild hover. Like, I can't even break Mach 1 on this. That's your flight. Like, I want, like, actual, like, zippity fly away. Like, that's a verb now. That's going to be something for the books.
That's the whole verb. Zippity fly away. It's the whole word. That is one word.
I want actual flying, not, power walk flight.
It's like how they explain flight in Invincible. It's not so much as like you're flying as much as it's you're allowed to move in a 3D
It's like
space.
peeing your pants.
What? Wait, what do you mean, Dad? You don't have to actually pee your pants. Don't worry. Although I have done that. No, yeah, it's a flight would be I think it's on everybody's list. I think, however, my number one, and I just like I see this when I say this, you're not going to be surprised because I think it like kind of encapsulates everything, like all the stuff that I want to do. Having an elemental control like Storm would just be the coolest thing ever.
Oh, I got like Storm.
Yeah, like lightning, wind, like control of waves and like Storm's basically a god. Like you can't convince me otherwise.
See, when you said that, I thought you meant like Toph or Katara of like elemental, cool. Not nature.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. What is nature?
No, I meant you're saying it more in like a context of weather. I was thinking like ground or water. If Josh was a waterbender, he would murder so many people.
I would be an earthbender. Just smack my head into things.
And yet you say you're Ravenclaw. Earthbenders are the Hufflepuff of the Last Airbender universe. We're literally grounded. Although,
I mean, that's right.
I'm just going to sit on this one. If Josh had lightning powers, what happens when Josh gets struck by lightning? Same thing that happens to everything else.
Yes.
He would go around saying that to people.
I would absolutely. Like, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, that line is not as cringy as everyone makes it out.
It's pretty cringe, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I love it.
There's no context.
I mean, I think Toad's powers could be on the worst list if we're honest.
Yeah. Why he's not named Frogger? Why do we have a Frogger movie? And it's just the scene from Toy Story 2 of trying to get across traffic for 2 hours. I would watch it.
Nah.
Or Frogger's Great Adventure. Frogger Sonic crossover. And then we find out honestly, Frogger isn't Frogger. He's actually Slippy's grandfather from Star Fox, and it's all connected.
No. And I know this is I know what your response is gonna be here, but I would love a Star Fox movie.
Of course you would.
I'm not a furry, okay? That's not a thing.
We have to let Slippy die, though. Everyone's wanted to kill Slippy at least once. We're okay in the head.
So annoying that Star Fox's only flaw in the movie is that when Slippy dies, he has no emotional reaction.
So, since Slippy is the worst in Star Fox, what are the worst superpowers out there?
Let's segue! Let's go!
What are some of the worst superpowers ever, Josh? And what are some of the people associated with them? Like
we actually had a little bit of a discussion about this before we got on. Doorman, his power is...
It's not that bad!
It's awful. No. Okay, so to explain, Doorman is one of the Avengers in one of their many different offshoots. His power is he creates a door. The caveat is that the walls have to be adjoining. So it's not like he's like, oh, I know, I'll create a door and we'll go over to the next house. Like, that's not, no. Like, it's literally just like, I'm going to punch the wall really hard and create an opening to get to the other side. I understand that there are specific situations.
A lot of situations.
But at the end of the day, it's super lame.
No. This character is basically can be utilized, if correctly, could be utilized as an expert lockpick. So basically, if you need to break into a room, have him be the door, send someone through, and unlock the door, and the rest of your squad comes in. And you can keep using him to get from the next room to the next room. Is he the most powerful? No. But in the right context, I don't think this is the worst. We are going to talk about someone that involves squirrels and D's nuts later. I think he's not the worst out there.
Okay, but like, literally the only thing you have to change is that the door can go anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, that's the only thing you have to change, and he's instantly super cool. Like, I don't know. To me, it's super lame, especially in like if we're like talking about a world where you have super powered people and lots of people with super strength, and people that can manipulate metal. Like, to me, the problem that you're suggesting, there's so many easier ways around that problem than just have him be the door.
But here's the other thing, though. He's one of the few superheroes that can actually transform from one thing to another, because when he becomes a door and you leave him open, he becomes a jar.
So anyway, guys,
I will sit on this one until you all appreciate it.
I don't know how to tell everybody this, but I'm leaving the podcast after that joke. I can't deal with that.
Like you've said worse.
Yeah, I totally have. Oh my gosh, what you got, boss?
Let's just get our graphic out of the way now. The beautiful man that is Nathan Fillion in The Suicide Squad. The detachable kid, a.k.a. arm fall off boy. This is a thing, people.
I think my favorite thing is being like, hey, so this is a character. What do you think that he does? His arms fall off? Well, yeah, technically.
And also, technically, he's one of the few members of the Suicide Squad that's still alive after the movie. Because James Gunn came out and confirmed that Nathan Fillion's still alive because he's got to employ his friend for the sequel. That will never come. What I love about doing this list of seeing the superheroes with the worst powers or what the worst powers could be is all the ones with really crappy powers have very literal name translations of what their powers are, as you will see. So, like, arm fall off boy. His arms pop off like Legos. And I will say, James Gunn made a good change that I don't think was in the comics. In the movie, they can move independent from his body. Like, move on their own free will, like their arms just detached from his body. I don't know if in the comic they could or not. I thought in the comics he could pop them out and just use them. Yeah. To which I'm just like, sir, you just gonna billy club someone with your arm? In which case... Is that just the same as a punch?
Both arms?
Or no, Josh wants the superpower because then he can give himself a hand.
I'm going to give you a leg up on this one.
You can't do that.
Oh.
Can a detachable kid pop his legs off? That's the eternal question now.
It is because he is called Arm Fall Off Boy, but his power description is he can detach his limbs. So it's like, can you do your legs too?
In which case, I need in the second Suicide Squad him to pop his arms off to do a mission and then pop his legs off, and he's just kind of stuck there like a little
the Black Knight from Monty Python.
and someone could literally be, oh, it's just a flesh wound, and then kick him across a field or something. Like if King Shark just starts playing soccer with Arm Fall Off Boy's body while he's still alive.
Gosh.
Why does this character exist?
Like, I think what's interesting is, like, I never saw the original costume until, like, looking all up this list and stuff like that. And, like, he's got, like, spiky sleeves on his arms so that when he detaches them, he can do some damage. But it's still like, but why? Like, but why? Okay, whatever. Stupid. It's just stupid.
So, speaking of stupid, another one of, well, the name kind of just says it all, doesn't it? Color Kid.
I think we have, like, the same list, bro.
In which case, whatever you're thinking Color Kid's powers are, that's probably right. Color Kid can change the color of anything. I mean, maybe he can make a good career out of interior design? But why does this exist? Why is this a thing? Like, unless he does like car detailing, in which case like Color Kid Customs.
Dude, let's go. But like I told one of my friends about Color Kid, and she was like, but like, what's the point? And I was like, yeah, that's it. No, there's nothing more to that. Like, that's the point. She's like, but why? I think the question I always have is like with a lot of these characters is like, well, why did we create this? How is this interesting? Like, why? Why?
My guess is this character was created maybe like the 60s or the 70s, or maybe even the 80s when something else was prominent. But
No. There's another character that does this, that turns sound into light, but she's like.
We'll talk about her later. We're
talking about like disco themed there. So.
Yeah, Josh. What's another one on your list?
Okay, we're gonna get the one half of the Wonder Twins out of the way here.
Not on my list. Not on my list, because I will defend him.
No, like being able to do water-based forms, that's so lame, and it's
not
like,
necessarily.
Oh, okay, please defend it, because right now we're looking at a guy that goes bucket of water and turns into a bucket of water.
What if he can transform into like a cup of water and then be drank by somebody and then expand and blow them up from the inside, or drown a room of people, because he can become anything of water, basically. It doesn't say or specify ever, to my knowledge, what unit of measurement of water he is. So theoretically, he could fill up a toilet and or room and drown someone. He could do that. He could dry drown someone, because that's dry drowning is a thing.
That is a thing, yeah.
He's a mass murderer that his sister has to cover up the crimes for. And him and the monkey go on murderous rampages. It's a wonder they haven't been caught.
You're right. However, he's like always this really good guy. So anything that he does with his powers are really, really lame.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's stupid. I'm just trying to defend him in some capacity.
Rope of water. Like, that's stupid. Shut up, dude.
Rope of water? What the heck is...
Bro, it is a thing. I looked it up. It is an actual thing. He, like, makes a rope out of water, and it doesn't trap the guy. And
does
he's
he
like,
give people whiplash?
What happened? I just don't The issue, I think, with it, the most, it's even if he, let's say, fills up a room filled with water, right? Does he have certain... is there a amount of him that can just dissipate and that he can go back to his regular form? Like, what's the matter ratio here? Because
why does it matter?
It does matter, because like if let's say that he makes the matter matters. Let's say he makes the ocean rise. Let's say, okay, so what's the ratio?
You say the ocean's rising like I give.
Like, what part of the ocean is him? What part of the ocean is the ocean water? You know, so like, does it mix?
Now we're thinking too much about it.
Nah, bro, I'm just saying.
All of the ocean is just the Wonder Twin. All of the ocean, we're regularly consuming bits and pieces of a Wonder Twin. He never left. But you say this doesn't matter, which I'm glad you said that, because it does matter. But thankfully, we have someone that can eat that matter.
I hate this
with Matter Eater Lad.
No, no, stop it! I hate this guy so much. He's a useless. Just tell him about him so I can move on from this.
Matter Eater Lad is just your dad after a certain age. He is the dude that will eat anything. That's it. Food, metal. I'm assuming in the right situation, people, if he so desired. Matter Eater Lad is just that. He has an iron stomach, like that kid in the Arthur episode with the pie eating competition. Because that's irrelevant.
That's a reference right there. Wow.
Pace yourselves, kids. That's how you win an eating competition.
God, man. But no, like, that's the thing, is like he's got the whole character's powers, you know, like unbreakable, because he can expand his jaw too, like to just take bigger bites, which is like,
in which case call it something else, like lockjaw.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, nope, that's
the Eater, man. Like, really?
Garbage disposal might have been taken. What's the matter?
Oh, I hate. Yeah, no. I'm done. I don't want to talk about this dude. I hate him so much.
I have 3 more. How many more you got?
Because you've taken some of mine, I only have 2 more.
Good. I'll be curious if you have one of mine that I'll try and save for last.
But one of them is a very specific example of with a certain character. So Superman is an interesting interesting character.
Don't you say, Mr. Mixelpidalic.
Very, very briefly in the Silver Age comics, he loses his powers and manifests new ones. One of them including he can shoot a tiny clone out of his hand that has his old powers. Does nothing for him. It's not sentient, so I don't understand how that works. But like, it's just like a mini clone of him with his same powers. Like, and I'm talking like a few inches tall. Like, I'm not talking like, hey, it's like a little child size. Like, what is the point of that thing, bro? Like, come on.
Merchandising, where the real money from the comic comes from.
That's true. But like, it was like, really? Like, they really tried to give Superman any power at this, didn't they?
Let's be honest.
So weird.
In the Silver Age of Superman, there was a lot of questionable powers that Superman got or received for like an issue, and then we never saw him again. Dare we bring up what pink kryptonite used to do to Superman that, you know, has aged so well? And I'm going, well, that was definitely the panic of the era.
Dude, it's so bad.
Speaking of being very much of its era, you briefly mentioned her before. Let's talk about Dazzler, the butt of every X-Men joke in the world this side of Jubilee.
I mean, I'll be talking about Jubilee here in a bit, but yeah.
Really? Oh, yeah. Good. We have different final twos.
Yay! No, yeah, Dazzler is just stupid. Like, the concept is interesting.
What is the concept of Dazzler?
The concept of Dazzler is that she can take sound and turn it into light. Cool, I guess. Like,
she's great at raves.
Like, that's very interesting to me in the sense that, like, she's literally taking matter and turning it into something, a different kind of matter. So, like, that's interesting. But why? Like, what's the point, man? You know what I mean? Like, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Again, she's great at raves. You get some stuff in your system, and she's the life of the party. Also, she's got this like real tragic like blue eye tattoo and a really dated costume. But hey, they stuck her in at least one X-Men movie, so she's got more live action appearances than Nightwing. So
wait, they did? When?
She was in either X-Men Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix. She was in one of the two.
All right, so I get the mix. I have no memory of. Got her.
They stick her in that for a little bit, just as a brief cameo, going, "See, we put Dazzler in there just for you guys," and going, "None of us asked for this." No one wanted
Dazzler. I'll take Jubilee over Dazzler.
So, I'm actually surprised this one's not on your list.
Okay.
And it's someone that's been highly requested to join the MCU, and I'm going, let's not, please, because if it happened, D's nuts jokes would make a huge comeback with the return of Squirrel Girl. Why is this a thing? I know Squirrel Girl has her fans, but it is literally someone that talks to squirrels. Why? How is this a thing?
Okay.
I know she's popular, but you can't be you gotta be honest, people. It's okay to like her. It's stupid. It's a stupid character. But in terms of the pantheon of comic book powers, being able to commune with squirrels doesn't make you special. It makes you the hobo that lives down the street from you.
Okay, but so you did this with Zan, the Wonder Twin. Imagine with me that we do in fact live in a world that the squirrels from Rick and Morty are a thing, where the squirrels are the thing holding together and toppling governments and economies. This squirrel girl is the one holding us all together. Because you have no respect for squirrels, put some respect on that name. Our governments and economies are collapsing because Squirrel Girl is not doing her job.
I'm just picturing now a Mad Max Fury Road style post-apocalyptic wasteland that has nothing but squirrels and like the occasional like fortress of humans that are trying to survive, but we have been overrun by giant squirrel people and a benevolent squirrel overlord who rides on the back of squirrels into tremendous victory that slits the throats of all of her enemies and feeds their bodies to her squirrels. I still don't buy it, man. Like,
I think she works much better as like a villain. I personally,
why? Because she's nuts?
No, just because like when I think of people talking to squirrels, I think of those black squirrels at the college campus. They used to legit chase people. Squirrels are nuts, bro. So
which reminds me, this is a story I haven't brought up in a while, so I'm gonna bring it up now. In college, I was coming back from the cafeteria after dinner, and this couple is standing off to the side, staring at a squirrel, and they're staring at this thing for a solid 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm going, what kind of weirdos are you that you're staring at a squirrel for 5 to 10 minutes straight? And then I sat back and realized I was staring at a couple staring at a squirrel for 5 to 10 minutes. And I walked away quietly, hoping they never noticed.
I mean, but like on that same campus though, like we had squirrels on that campus. Like
they were fat squirrels.
My brother went to throw something out at a trash can, like, and it jumped out and chased him. I was like, what is happening? Like, get away from me. That's stupid.
See, I half expected when you said that to say, when he threw something at the squirrel caught it and threw it back. He's now the starting quarterback for the college. They actually improved this season because of it.
Oh, jeez. Well, they would have been so much better.
Yeah.
I will say that one of my friends in college during a specific special event week got a blow dart gun with the intention of trying to see if he could nail a squirrel, and he did. So they're not invincible.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Boys, which I love, and I love the seeing that on the internet, because people are like, that would mean that orcs have restaurants. Like, which is like a wild thing to think about, like an orc restaurant.
Oh, it's good, but it's like their meat. It's very rare.
Boo!
So I have all the puns tonight. So
yeah,
this is my last one. You're all tapped out besides Jubilee, right?
Yeah, good old Jubilee.
Jubilee's not that bad, but she's basically just an audience surrogate.
So here's the thing. Jubilee as a character, interesting. I love her as a character. She's fun whenever she's in places. She does what she can with her power. Her power, stupid, super stupid. Hey Josh, what's her power? Hey, well, what listening audience? Let me tell you. She shoots fireworks out of her hands.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah. But not like, hey, I'm gonna launch artillery shells out of my fingertips. No. We're talking like sparkler level. Like we're talking.
Have you ever had a sparkler in the eye?
No. Nate, I can't say that I have.
Or better yet, instead of Ant-Man with Thanos in Endgame, it's Jubilee.
Stop.
To the moon.
No. To the moon. Oh my gosh. I mean, is there potential? Sure. Will the comic book writers ever take Jubilee to the level of her launching artillery shell style fireworks from her hands? No, they will not. It's just like, it's dazzling. It's cool. She's basically
Dazzler.
Like she's great at parties. She's great at a Jubilee. Anyway.
Leave the bad puns to me. No. Okay. I'm glad you didn't say this one. But the X-Men have a lot of bad characters with bad superpowers. This one, I'm so tempted to not even consider this a superpower because I don't know how it is. but there's an X-Men character with the name of a Land Before Time character. His name is Longneck. I'll give you 5 guesses what his power is. That's right. He looks like Melvin Dew from the Scooby-Doo movie. I don't know why, but that actor always freaked me out with how long his neck was. This dude has a long neck. Does it stretch out far? Nope. Does it shrink down? Nope. Is it more or less the same length always? Yeah. He just has a slightly longer neck than other people, to which I'm just going, how is that a mutant power? Unless you have cloves and are a giraffe boy, you are... Why? Also, calling him Longneck, when that is his only thing that makes him a mutant, is kind of really, really cruel. That's like calling a kid Four Eyes or something. It's like, not like they can help it. Like, he has a long neck. Why is that a special power?
That's like there's another X-Men called Eyes All Over. And guess what? He's got eyes all over. Like, he's just covered in eyes. Like that's so mean. Like, just you. Xavier literally saw this guy who just needs like thousands of contacts every day, and it's like, I'm gonna make this guy fight villains. Like, come on.
I'm just expecting, like, with Longneck, Professor X and the other students were at the mall someday, and they saw one kid with a freakishly long neck, and were like, he is clearly a mutant and needs to come with us, or else he is going to die from bullying because of his slightly stretched out neck. It's so like someone messed up the aspect ratio. Yeah, so we're going to bully him instead. The only thing I can think of for this long neck character, like the only benefit to his superpowers is if he sees a car accident on the side of the road, he can slightly see it better than the other rubberneckers seeing what happened and what caused the slowdown.
It's such like an odd insult. Get away from me, you regular necker. Like, what? It makes you question everything. You're like, do some people have short necks and some people have... I mean, that's true. Some people have no necks. Some people have...
Taz.
Necks. Taz, baby. But, like...
They all just call him Littlefoot. His aunt is dead.
Like, come on, bro. That's not fair.
How is this a power? I don't get it. But seriously, guys, X-Men, long neck style.
There's
like
so many. Like, what is it in X-Men 2? There's the kid that his only power is that he can change TV channels.
Okay, that's helpful.
Sure, if you're watching TV, but like literally in anything else, like completely pointless.
You wouldn't want that power?
I don't watch enough TV that has channels. Like, come on. Like, because that begs the question: does that go to streaming services? Does that mean he can manipulate other forms of electricity? No, just TV channels. Yeah, just analog TV channels. Okay, cool. Hard.
Well, okay, when you bring up that guy, what about the other guy from the X-Men movies that, like, can take up 3 chair spaces, or he can just take up 1? He's a pain in the long neck on airplanes. He's gonna be that guy. Like, he has no other powers. He's just, am I a size 10 or am I a size 6? You decide this week.
I hate it. I hate it so much. There's, like, the X-Men is just full of terrible superpowers, and like there's a lot of stuff that like we probably haven't even brought up. Like there's the guy from Legion that just turns into a bouncy ball.
Okay, that would be fun though.
That's fun, but it's like okay, whatever.
Well, what do you guys think? What are some of the best and the worst, because the worst are fun too, superpowers that you know of or can remember seeing from either comic book movies or TV? Let us know in the comments below. We always like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.